Okay, welcome back. I'm going to be making a breaded cod tonight with some different seasonal vegetables and some rice. One thing I like to point out is that when I was working for different chefs for Marriott, I always ask the question, do we have anything besides yellow squash and zucchini squash as our vegetable medley? We would always mix that with some portobello mushrooms and some onions. And that would be generally our seasonal vegetable. Well, the problem with that is it would be all season long and be all year long. And so one of the chefs that I worked for Marriott suggested during the fall and winter months switching over to eggplant and fennel. Of course, you still do your portobello mushrooms, you still do the onions, but you would add fennel. Now the trade-off is the color's not going to be there because you've got eggplant, you've got fennel, and there are really not a lot of variances in color. You don't have a lot of color. The difference is you get a lot of flavor, especially with the fennel. It has a really strong licorice type flavor to it, and so it's really, really good. And it just kind of breaks things up. So during the fall months, fall and winter seasons, we would go to eggplant and fennel with the mushroom and onion, as our blend. And then of course, once spring would come back, we would do our zucchini squash and yellow squash along with portobello mushrooms and onions. So just a way to kind of change it up a little bit, just so people don't get sick and tired of eating the same thing when they come back. Speaking of which, I'm going to grab my onion. It's a rule when I do these videos. That's just the oven. That I always forget something. So there it is. I forgot something. So we're going to start with our breaded cod. We're going to go ahead and get this thing ready to go. I've got an egg wash that I prepared along with some breadcrumbs. The thing I like about cod, not everybody likes cod, but I actually do. I like cod a lot. And it's one of the reasons why is because it breads really nicely. It's one of the few fish that I found that, when you bread it up, it doesn't kind of flake and fall apart. A lot of fish tends to like to do that. So I'm going to get this thing nice and hot. Actually, while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get it hot. I'm actually going to start working on my vegetables so we're not wasting a lot of time. That's something I try to be prepared for. I'm going to go ahead and start getting my bowl ready, just like I've done in my previous videos. A little salt, pepper. I'm a little bit low on French herbs, so I'm going to use the Italian ones tonight, which is fine. And I'm going to go ahead and start with my fennel. I'm going to go ahead and cut this up. Fennel is a pretty easy plant to cut. You just cut off the stem here. You get this part right here off, and then you want to bring it up to right below, right where it starts to kind of flower out. So you want to cut that off. You can use this obviously for stock or whatever. And then you want to cut this in half, and you want to remove the inside portion, like the flowery part of it. That's not going to be a part of what's edible. I mean, like I said, it can be used in stock, but fennel's really good. I love fennel. I don't eat it enough. So then we're going to do a nice julienne. I just sharpened my knife the other day, so I was actually doing one of these videos, and my knife was really dull. I hadn't sharpened it in a while, and I was really actually nervous I was going to cut myself. Because the knife, when you're cutting, the knife should be doing most of the work. That's the knife's job. So we're going to throw this in there. You can also grill fennel as well. If you're doing like a grilled vegetable, you can grill it with the eggplant. Here's my eggplant. Eggplants. This is going to be really nice when it's done. This is getting hot. That's the reason why I'm trying to multitask here, so I don't take too much time with. So I'm going to cut this part off. This is the center part of it. That's the seed part. Same thing on the bottom on the eggplant. We're going to take it in about a 1/2 inch. So you should have like a nice little square. Once again, you can use that for stock. If you're making a vegetable stock. When I was interning, I would have to keep a little bowl right next to my workstation. And everything that was trash or whatever, when I was cutting up things I would normally just throw away at home, that obviously was edible, like plants or anything like that, would go into a stock pot, and we would make vegetable stock every night. That was a French restaurant, and that's where I got really just kind of attached to like the French style of cooking. It's really hot. It's so hot I can actually feel it where I'm standing. That's going to be for the fish. We're gonna bake the fish, but we're going to go ahead and hit it really hard on both sides with. Turn that down. Turn that way down. It's way too hot. I can see the smoke coming off of it. Yeah, we're going to hit the fish both sides, and then we're actually going to throw it in the oven and let it finish. But this is going to be a really beautiful dish, and the sauce that we're going to use for this the breaded cod is an aioli. We're going to use a basic aioli. And the difference between aioli and hollandaise, because a lot of people get them confused, is hollandaise is egg yolks and butter, obviously warm butter because it's going to emulsify, but the aioli would be egg yolks and, or just whole eggs. You can actually use whole eggs. I'm going to use egg yolks and olive oil. So we're almost done here. I'm going to go ahead and cut these up. So my portobellos. Getting everything in here. Get the vegetables ready to go. Portobellos are so nice. Last thing I'll do is cut them. And I'm just doing just kind of a crude chop here. I'm not really, because once these come out, you'll group them together and plate up, and it's not going to be as important that they're of the same size. I mean, they're relatively close now, but obviously I'm not looking to make sure that they're all evenly cut veggies. Maybe if I were in a 4-star hotel or something like that, I might do that, but not tonight. Just want to get these things cut up in the oven so I can start working on the fish. This video shouldn't take very long. It's also make sure that whenever you're cutting up whenever you're putting your mushrooms there, you wash them off really well. These mushrooms that I got were really, really dirty. Came from the store. You just got to remember where a mushroom comes from. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get our onion here. The mushrooms and onion is going to be with the medley, the seasonal medley, no matter what. If it's zucchini, squash, or eggplant, fennel, doesn't matter. That part is consistent. Just to kind of add a little bit of flavoring. And I'm going to take this down some more. And clean this onion off. All right, so I've got my onions. I'm actually doing all. You normally have these things already prepared, but I'm just going to kind of wing it tonight. All right. And so I'm going to julienne my onion. I'm going to cut off the ends to look just like this. So you should have 2 flat sides. And then I'm just going to start cutting on one end of it. And I can cut fast because my knife is very sharp. And I'm done. Just julienne the whole onion in about 20 seconds. All right, so now they're ready to toss. I've already got the salt, the pepper, the herbs, everything in there. It's all on the bottom. Doesn't need to add anything to this. Should be a nice light coat. I'm gonna throw this in the oven. And I'll probably check back in about 15-20 minutes, somewhere around there. You don't really want, the eggplant is what you really need to start worrying about. You know, I would honestly rather just undercook the eggplant a little bit, just so I don't, overcook it. I'm going to go ahead and throw these in here. And these are going straight into the oven. Now for our fish. We've got our fish. All right, so I've got my station set up over here. My nice station. I'm going to go ahead, remember, wet side, dry side. So I'm going to go ahead and get this warmed back up a little bit. And I'm not cooking these. I'm just really basically just trying to get them brown on each side. That's it. Really not trying to do much else. It should still be pretty hot. It was smoking just a minute ago. And really hot. All right, so left hand, I'm gonna drop the fish into the egg wash mixture. All right, I'm gonna lift it out, put it into the bread, and with the right hand, I'm gonna coat it. All right, now it's gonna get my right hand a little bit wet, but if you start mixing and matching these things, you're gonna end up with a lot of mess all over you. So all right, you can hear that sizzling. All right, here's the second fillet. We'll drop that in the egg wash, get that nice coating. Drop it into and we're gonna bread it up really nicely. You can leave your hand, the wet, over your egg wash mixture. And you can see I've breaded it really nicely. And we're gonna get this nice and breaded. So while you're doing that, you can kind of clean up a little bit. You got some, I'm gonna push this off to the side a little bit. My station. I always try to keep my station clean too while I've got a second. I'm gonna blast this thing so I can go ahead and get these into the oven. And that's gonna be pretty much it. There's not a lot else. You know, I'm gonna hit this with, it's like I forgot my tongue. No, I didn't forget my tongue. Good grief. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn these. Notice I've got a nice coating on them. I'm gonna let these, I'm gonna turn this all the way up. And I'm gonna let these get nice and brown on each side. And then I'm gonna put these in this pan and I'm gonna stick them in the oven, checking the temperature, internal temperature to about 165. But that's pretty much it. This is not gonna be a really overly complex meal that I'm making. I'm gonna put a little bit of aioli over it. It's gonna look really pretty. One thing you gotta look for, I just pull a bone out. Just make sure that whenever you're cooking cod, you're looking for bones and things like that. One of the things I'll do right before I plate this up is I'll probably give it a nice cut. Probably cut it in half, long ways, and then that'll allow me to kind of, if I see any bones or anything through there, then I can obviously take care of them then. But I'm pretty much at a point now where I'm just kind of going to be flipping these over until they get brown, and then I'm going to stick them in the oven, and then when we come back on Instagram, I'll make the aioli sauce, and that'll go over the top of the oven. And I'll also show you how whenever I made some rice. Now, normally you can work in a restaurant or hotel or whatever, and you can scoop the rice out, put it on the plate, and that's so. But I was showing them, you know, a way to kind of plate up the rice. It makes it look really, really pretty on the plate. So this is almost there. Like I said, you want this to be really nice and brown. And you can hear that sizzling. A lot of people use breadcrumbs with things added to them. I don't. I just use plain breadcrumbs. I think cod tastes great on its own. It doesn't really need a lot of things added to it. Like I said, I'll put a little bit of aioli with it, and that's about it. I really don't think cod needs much more than that. All right. Well, thank you for watching. Like I said, this is a breaded cod. We'll have some seasonal vegetables, eggplant and fennel, with a little bit of rice. Probably going to put a little bit of saffron on top of the rice too, just to kind of give it a little bit of color. There's not going to be a lot of color on this, and I don't even have any rosemary, so I don't have anything to give it any height either. So I'm kind of breaking all the rules here tonight whenever I'm making this, but it'll look really nice. It'll look really pretty whenever it comes out, and I'll show you when it's done. Right? Thank you.